everybody. It's Breakfast with Bob.
Joe, man, everybody. Welcome back. Breakfast with Bob from Kona at Huggo's on the Rocks. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by Master Spas, SFuels, right fuel, right time. HOKA, Fly Human Fly, Deboer Wetsuits, Quintana Roo, and, of course, our Challenged Athletes Foundation. We've now raised $180 million. Keep challenged athletes in the game of life through sport. Our next guest from HOKA, Mike McManus, Director of Sports Marketing for the Deckers brand, and a guy who has done 34 Escape from Alcatraz events. One of my dearest friends on the planet, Mr. Eric Gilsenan.
Wow.
How you doing, boys?
Man, thanks for having us here. I'm doing well. I have zero Alcatraz, Escape from Alcatraz, but this guy's, I did coach him way back in the day. I think Golden Gate Dry Club in 1990, so I got to grill him once a week in Kezar Stadium in San Francisco back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Painless workouts with Mike McManus. That's what was written in the newsletter we'd get in the mail. It's like jumbo
was it
shrimp.
true?
It should never be in the same sentence.
2:22:52, December 5th, 1991, Cal International. But that was just one of your 2:22 marathons. You've got a few of those.
I had a couple.
Detroit.
a couple, like I said. We're all thinking we would run maybe some faster times now with these new innovative shoes. But okay, you do what you do back in the day, and I was maybe a little bit better than the average runner, but certainly nothing like taking on this challenge in Kona.
So back in the day, you could gain time in this sport by getting a good wetsuit. You could gain time from getting a fast bike and lighter wheels, but running was running. Running, you had shoes. Now, with the super shoes that you guys have been very innovative with, it's changed everything, where you can gain speed there as well. How did that come about for you guys, and what changes have you seen?
I mean, HOKA started this whole craze where everything's now oversized and higher stack, super lightweight shoes, and HOKA began the genesis of that. So, I mean, if you remember, 15 years ago when HOKA started, the industry was just the opposite. So there was
minimalist, barefoot,
born to run. Everyone was really psyched about the 5
shoes.
fingers. And
yes,
I can only imagine that after 5, 6, 7 plus hours out here of swimming and biking, to then throw on a pair of shoes with minimal cushioning, and then hitting the hot pavement. And so HOKA at the time, the trend was just the opposite. Came out with this oversized, super lightweight rockers, so everything filled in. And the cool thing about triathletes is they've always been really early as far as
adapters.
Adopting. Absolutely, with innovation. You
Always.
see that now. I was just looking at the bikes, and I was like, a lot of these athletes have the latest with bike tech here and wheel size and all that kind of stuff, but it's the same thing in footwear. And so instantly, triathlon found HOKA before HOKA started to invest into a partnership with Ironman, or really invested into athletes and that sort of stuff. So it was a really cool partnership, but it makes sense. HOKA comes from ultra trail running, which was also very similar in terms of the time on your feet, the many hours you're out there trying not to to beat up your quads and hips and lower legs. And so it makes sense that triathletes found HOKA, and the rest is history now with super shoes. And there's definitely advantage. I think the biggest advantage is probably not just the propulsion or the benefit, but the recovery.
I was going to say, that's what I've heard from Ben Canute and from others, is the recovery that comes from you have a hard race or a hard workout, the next day you're okay, which didn't happen before.
Yeah, I mean, and I know when I first met Eric and I started diving into the let's say triathlon, and I was more on the running side. But
if he could only swim, folks, he'd be on the podium on Sunday.
Asking about, okay, what's your goal, and starting to devise training programs. You learn very quickly the amount of time, effort, dedication, hours people are focused on to get ready to complete an Ironman, let alone qualify for Kona. But super shoes are a huge part of that. So if you can recover faster now, that allows you to do more. That allows you to train a little bit faster, or maybe do a little bit more volume, but ultimately, get yourself to the starting line in a much better position.
You've got a guy, Sam Laidlow, who defending champion, won here at Nice last year. Year before, led for a big chunk of the day, got past just in the last couple miles. He's a HOKA guy, and is obviously one of the favorites here. He's going to be going off the front in the swim, and hopefully never look back. He's going to hopefully Lucy Charles this thing and go be the fastest swim, bike, and run of the day.
We hope so. I think Magnus might have something to say about that. There are a few good
and Christian and
Christian. I'm not sure.
Lionel.
2 years ago, he was able to kind of let's say, and he's an amazing cyclist and get away with it. And last year, Nice, the bike course last year was so difficult that maybe that was to his advantage and much easier. But yeah, Sam's ready to go. He's been doing a lot more running this year, so hopefully that pays off for him. We're hopeful with that, and we're super stoked to see him out here and see if he can defend and or do a little bit better than he did 2 years ago in Kona.
The other athlete who we were just chatting with is Coach Jim Vance, but Ben Canute, another HOKA guy.
Yep.
And Benny, I mean, we haven't had an American, and Eric remembers this, 2001, 2002, Tim DeBoom.
Yep.
And from 78 to 93, it was all Americans. So, Eric, from that perspective, having an American win here, how special would that be?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been following Ben since he came into the sport, and he's been in the sport since he was 8 years old. He's a long time. His parents did this race. Ben came over here at 8 years old and witnessed Mom and Dad finishing, so he's been invested for quite a while. It would be great. I think his best race is still inside him. A lot of people say Chattanooga 70.3 was his best day. I do believe he has better. And he's got the mindset. I homestayed him a few years ago with his wife before the kids, and that was fun. They were great housemates, and we just, really support him and want the best.
So when I look at from a UTMB perspective, because that's really where that's where HOKA started, trail running and needing something more protective for the downhills and
necessity is the mother of invention.
Exactly.
And Jean-Luc and the other guys, Nico, they were running UTMB saying we got to get a better shoe.
So they come up with that amazing shoe, and like you said, triathletes are the early adopters, and they saw the product and realized, and what's cool about triathletes, if you're a runner, you sort of know everything, individual running type person. If you're a cyclist, same type of thing, a runner, not really looking to do anything different. If you're a triathlete, usually you come in with one sport that you're halfway decent in, and two of you that you don't know crap about, or maybe you know two. But there's some, you don't know what you don't know at least one of the sports, so you're more open, trying different nutrition, trying different products. And early on, and when Eric and you first showed me HOKA, I was like, oh my God, this is so different and so comfortable. That there was a lot of folks back then who weren't running anymore. And the HOKAs brought them running back into their life. And for you as a pure runner, what was your thought when you first saw what a lot of people looked at as, oh my God, this is so different?
Yeah, I was with a competitor. Well, we didn't think HOKA is anything at the time. So I was with another brand for a couple decades. And so we were looking from afar. And I think like everybody else, we were scratching our head and we were like, what is this? And let's try and figure it out. And the shoes early on were completely different in terms of their design and from an innovation standpoint, but they're also not the best looking shoes in the world. We'd always get feedback like amazing shoes, and they looked terrible. They looked butt ugly and that sort of stuff. And so I joined HOKA in 2016. And of course, Ben was one of our athletes. I mean, he was on that Rio Olympic team for the U.S., and so he's been with us since then, and we've seen that evolution. But it's interesting, as soon as somebody tries the shoes, when we added Jan Frodeno some years ago, same thing. I remember, what blew us away about Jan was, of course, the year that he did not have success out here, where he had a stress fracture within the early miles in 2017, and he didn't drop out. I mean, he was walking along the Leahy here. It blew us away, and we're like, wow, okay,
that's first class.
If we can ever find a partnership with this individual, but when Jan, he had the similar experience that so many people have had. He got in their shoes. He was like, wow, I didn't know. And of course he didn't. He had a different partnership and was loyal. And but he's a good example of someone, as soon as they had the opportunity to try our shoes, and then more recently with of course, super shoes and adding PIBA and carbon fiber into a similar high stack shoe. You get now a Rocket X2. You're doing okay. As I was mentioned earlier, Sam, we have a updated iteration or version to our Cielo.
Yes.
It's out there that will be out officially in March of this next year. So Cielo 1 2.0. And Sam, we have received approval from World Athletics, and he'll be throwing those on tomorrow.
My God. Breaking news.
Breaking news. That is it.
And then last year, last year at Challenge Roth, watching Daniela, and a lot of people thought she's done. Right, and they thought that the year before when she won St. George, but they thought, okay, she's not going to be. She had Annie Hogg, the best runner in sport, back in second place, who was finally saying to all the people who were giving her splits, saying, quit giving me splits on Daniela. She's too far ahead. Give me splits on second, because she was further back than that. And that's a testament to the fact Daniela was having really one of the best runs of her life.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe Paul Newby has something to say about it, but certainly right up there is the GOAT.
Five 70.3 world titles and five Ironman world titles. That's 10.
We're speaking right now of Sam Laidlow and
Yeah.
Danny, the future of the sport and one of the greatest. And what's amazing is 11 years ago, we had a 10 by 20 here. We had 100 pairs of shoes. They sold out Tuesday and Wednesday by noon. They ordered another 100. They came overnight, which means Friday morning. Pre-sold 100 pair. They were lined up on Friday, just throwing them out.
To use them in the race.
200 pair of shoes 11 years ago, and now every other shoe company in the world, we're on their radar, and they make their shoes just like ours.
And
that's amazing.
And the having UTMB and Ironman,
we would have never gotten
the most
involved with
dedicated
UTMB
athletes.
if we weren't happy with the Ironman.
Back in the day when we talked ultra running, you were talking witness protection, right? You were talking people who were living off the grid and didn't want me. I remember at Competitor Magazine, you go to interview an ultra runner, like, I don't want any media. Like, what are you hiding from? But it's changed. When I see the numbers at UTMB,
amazing.
It's gigantic. Did you ever expect it to be that big?
Not so much.
Yeah.
I mean, there is an explosion there. I mean, gravel bike is kind of following a similar trend, but ultra running's taken off. You do see some overlap. I mean, I think the thing that we see that's so consistent though is that both of the extreme endurance events, like an Ironman, like a UTMB, athletes are out there for so long, and so the opportunity to take advantage, but also the necessity to have the very best footwear that's just going to minimize the pounding, beating it up. When you start, after T2 here, you go in your run, you already have many hours worth of endurance effort. And so you're not working at 100% of your capacity. You're managing your nutrition, your core temperature, but you're already pretty beat up, even if you haven't had the pounding. And that's very similar to ultra trail running or our partnership with UTMB. So the athletes, they might look at themselves in their own separate, subcategories, triathlon or ultra, but there's actually quite a bit of overlap. You see that with Heather Jackson, for example, who's made that transition, and all of a sudden she's pretty darn good at ultra running.
She does a Leadville and a Western States, and then she does the gravel rides and mountain bike, and the athletes are doing it all.
And she can lace them up and still skate too. Anything Heather Jackson does, she's going to do well.
So what is next for HOKA? What is there? A new product line coming out, new racing flats. What can you tell us that you
kind of sharing you the sneak peek of the Cielo. If you look down at Sam's pair, we'll have kind of a camouflage version of it, so you can get a little bit of a gist of what that new super shoe is. But we're looking forward to that, releasing in March, and then the Rocket X2, which is a very popular competition shoe. Taylor Nibb's favorite shoe. We have an update to that in July of next year, and so the athletes are just testing that right now. We've had terrific early feedback, along with, of course, new training shoes and whatnot. But road and competition shoes, super shoes, is a major focus for us on the innovation side. So look for those two new super shoes to come out in the coming months.
It used to be, Eric knows, and we both know, people just go to the expos and that's the way they see product. Now you see product on social media, you see it so many different ways. How has it changed in terms of how you reach a consumer?
It's completely changed now. I mean, the expo doesn't go away. It's important to have that conversation with all the athletes.
You need the human touch.
But social media has completely changed the game as far as just whether it's an athlete helping to launch a shoe, whether it's one of the qualifiers here that has their own little fan club that's a local heroes, that's an advocate of the brand, and pumping that up, as well as any of the marketing direct pushes that we're doing to help launch a shoe. So it's so much more impactful. Along with now, it's a little bit more tricky because World Athletics is involved. They also, our Ironman also follows World Athletics rules.
Yes.
So, the model that I'm talking about right now, we had to receive approval
from
World.
Yeah.
We had an athlete run 2 weeks ago on that shoe in Chicago and was 9th in 2:08, so it was a pretty good start. We'll have a couple athletes running next weekend in New York City marathons, because other stuff is going on besides.
I was going to
Ironman.
say, you're when you're dealing with UTMB and you're dealing with Ironman, and then by the way, World Marathon Majors. You've got Chicago. You got New York. Got all this stuff happening. Are you intimately involved with all of that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
That's fun. It's so fun to have road, track, tri, and trail. And so this weekend's Ironman. But the thing is that people are so astute when they watch Sam tomorrow.
Yes.
And hopefully he's in a good place when he comes out of T2 and throws on the shoes. We don't have to say anything.
They'll be saying
people
it.
haven't had to watch this. They will instantly go, "What is he wearing? That's new." And instantly and that's social media now. It just gets out so quickly.
It's pretty funny though, right? If you had a shoe or somebody's wearing a shoe, and all of a sudden you guys, your office, the people are reaching out and going, "How do I get those?" And you're like, "Wait, which shoe are they even talking about? We don't even know what that one is."
And that's the beauty of this expo. And you know about expos because when we first met 30 years ago, the King Kamehameha hosted it with just 12 booths in the hallway. Competitor Magazine, Power Bar. I actually gave you the Power Bars to give to McLaren to do that race in '92 at the King Kamehameha. But, the expo is important because we get to meet the people. Once again, HOKA has the largest booth.
Yes.
Has the most staff.
Yep.
And we're demoing our shoes. People wonder, should I ever go to Kona? Yes, we encourage everyone to come here at least once. I think this is your 100th time here. I've been here most of those. It's the way to go. We get to demo our shoes. We get to listen to our people. We want to hear from our passionate customers. It's very important for us to stay in tune. Some other brands just believe, oh, yeah, we'll just put our stuff to the curb.
Online.
But, we want to meet the people. We want to hear the special interest stories. We try to listen to them, support people, and just take care of people. We take care of our team. We take care of our athletes. And it's more than just a shoe. The leadership we have at Deckers, and a lot of companies come to this sport small and they're bought up. We're already New York Stock Exchange, all the time. So we're publicly traded. We are in an ability to help the sport, help other brands, and help athletes. And that's our biggest thing. We just want everyone to fit in their skin, enjoy exercise with Hokas on their feet.
When you're out there on Saturday and you're like watching people run by and, okay, they're wearing our shoes. It's just got to make you feel good. Because I remember being back at, was it Wildflower? When you guys were first, you're coming up, walking out of the trailer with these big shoes, and are like, what the hell are those?
Yeah.
And now look where it's come.
Yeah, of course it's cool. Of course it's cool. And I mean, this is there isn't any other event like this. So, I'm still blown away by the conditions.
Yes.
If you haven't been out here, as soon as once the sun comes up, which is the beginning of the swim, it doesn't get any easier, whether it's super windy or not so windy, but just the consistency of the heat and the humidity.
Yeah.
So by the time they finish the bike, and it's a long drag, and then put on the shoes, again, I'm blown away first and foremost. Like, okay, it's middle afternoon, you're out here doing this.
You're starting a marathon at noon. Yeah.
Which, normally we would not go out for a run if we weren't doing the other two at 2 or 3 in the afternoon. But yeah, it's great to see people understanding our product and choosing maybe the most important bucket list of their entire life.
Yes.
They're choosing to wear HOKA. So yeah, it's special.
I remember a few years ago at Chicago Marathon where I think they canceled, they shortened because it was going to be like 90 degrees, and I'm like, wait a second. Our guys are starting the run at 90 degrees. They've already done 2.4, 112. It's 90 degrees. You get more water out there. Get some ice out there. Come on now.
Yeah, the passion, that we will watch tomorrow is just so awesome to see people out there, and we're so proud to have so many people in our shoes. And it's just, there's no doubt the shoe industry has been turned on its side because of what
no question.
Jean-Luc, Nico, and the rest of our crew have done.
Love it. Appreciate all the support over the years. You guys have been awesome. I think you were one of my first sponsors at Breakfast with Bob, and I sincerely appreciate everything.
You were the third call I got when I got the job 11 years ago.
Exactly.
First with Dave Scott, then Julie Moss, then you.
I'm an early adapter.
Yes, you are, buddy. We
Bob,
love you.
I was going to say thank you for all you do.
Yeah, man.
It's a win-win for us, and
the world is a better place because of you, Bob.
Eric
and Jeffrey
Gilsenan.
Jacobs and Jeffrey Essecow, the two guys that also support.
You better call them in tomorrow,
baby.
Man.
And Dave McGilvery, he'll be in his Hokas.
I love it. Mike McManus, Eric Gilsenan have been our guests. Poncho Man, take us out.
My man.
Good morning, everybody. It's Breakfast with Bob. Oh, yeah. Get ready, everybody. It's Breakfast with Bob. Poncho Man.